couple of things about this gameplay. Number one, I played this game for 5 hours. Had to chop it up into a 20-minute chunk because that's all Bandai would allow me to show. Again, this is not live, so I'm just going to be watching the footage. We can watch it over and over. We'll watch it over and over, and I'll do my best to answer your questions as you ask them. Feel free to jump in and ask whatever questions you like. Just so you don't get spoiled, I'm going to show the tutorial boss. I'm going to show one pretty standard mission along with a boss fight, and then another very short boss fight. The boss fights I cut up they're short because I showed my winning run. I didn't show all the like dying over and over. So you're going to see 2 bosses, a tutorial boss, and a normal mission. So just so you're all aware, I want to make sure you know that. All right, let's do it. And this is the very, very beginning of the video game. I thought it'd be fun to show a little bit of cinematic, because I think the cinematics are cool. There are not many of them, but I think the cinematics are actually really cool.
Cerebral coral control device.
Do you keep any progress loot EXP even if you lose a mission?
C4621.
Cortal, yes. I'm trying to remember if I lost a mission. I think that there was a couple of things you keep and then a couple of things you don't keep.
Time to get to work.
Losing missions didn't happen very often.
I'm powering down your entry capsule.
Because
on my signal.
You could kind of like get through a mission pretty simply. It's the ones with bosses that were the tough ones. What type of game is this? It's Dark Souls with mechs. I'm a FromSoft casual fan. I'm a FromSoft casual fan. I am not at all a FromSoft diehard. So to me, this is Dark Souls with mechs. 100%. 100%. Geralt! Thank you, Geralt, for gifting 5 to Valera Diary. Or Valera Dairy, Stunt Rocker, Puppet Stud, Lug Overdrive, and Kevlar. Thank you very much, Geralt. Gifting almost 500 people. Are there little humans inside the mechs? Yes, there are little humans inside the mechs. There's a lot of obtuse lore that you get in between missions. Metal Gear style radio calls and stuff.
Descent to ISB 2262.
So this is the very beginning of this game.
Complete.
That's right, Scoot. Yeah, you're right.
Is grid 135. Off target, but within permissible range.
Leenda, keep an eye out for people that ask if I'm playing, please.
Use it to close the gap.
So this is the very beginning, and then it basically drops you into the tutorial mission here. And then I'll stop it here for a second. This is me taking on the tutorial boss. Now, you're going to love this. Really, this is probably one of my favorite moments in gaming ever, was at this event. So this event they put on was really cool, but it was really, really hot. They had it in an airplane hangar with an actual mech moving around. The event was awesome, but man, it was hot. It was like 90 degrees with a bunch of computers and people sitting around playing a video game. And so the coolest part about this was the tutorial boss. I think me and Lawrence were sitting next to each other playing, and the developers were there. Like, we're talking about the people that made this video game were behind us, watching us play the tutorial boss. And well, you'll see. I'll say what happened.
That's it.
So this is the tutorial boss. The tutorial running around the missions is really simple. I actually really enjoyed the missions themselves. They're really fun, and they're very, very easy. Judas, I didn't. No, I did this. I captured this, Judas. So that's the tutorial boss there. Yeah, Battle Road. You can't backseat this because no one can backseat this game because they've never played it before. The one thing that you learn about Armored Core is your missiles. See those missiles that I fire out like that? You have to constantly use your cooldowns. Constantly fire your missiles. Every time they're back, fire them. Yeah, you can see the stagger bar above the health bar there. So I melee on the stagger, right? I'm trying to get up there to do another melee, but I can't. Yeah, you can see the stagger bar above, actually above me on the bottom. So I just got staggered and then hit over and over, and I'm really upset and angry. And then the stagger bar is above the boss, at the very top of the screen. And stagger's very important, obviously. That's me dodging a bunch of missiles. Those are big moves that I just made. Almost got him staggered again, so I can do more damage. But you're just firing missiles to stagger, basically. And then my cannon is just an automatic cannon. I'm just holding down the button. Here's the melee again. Oh, it just needs one more shot. There it is. There it is. Yeah, there is a soft lock on for your missiles. Your missiles are pretty much always locked on. Sometimes they miss.
Heavy combat helicopter.
Yeah, first try, guys. First try.
That's all for our work here today, 621.
So what happened there was, I think we spent, let's say 25 minutes on that boss. Eventually you learn you got to get close to him. You learn that you need to be really close and just constantly fire everything. Like you're constantly firing your missiles, your guns, all of it. You never let up. And once you stagger them, you go in and melee. So the developers were behind me and they were watching me fail over and over and over. And then when I beat him, they all went like this. They all went, yeah, like that. They all cheered for me when I beat him. And I was so excited. They got me so excited. And I was like, gosh, this is what I need when I'm playing a FromSoft game. Is I need the developers behind me cheering me rather than me losing for an hour. And then when I beat them, I'm finally like, oh. But it was great. It was great to have them cheering me on. That's like I said, it's kind of one of those things that I'll never forget because I thought it was pretty amazing to have these legendary game developers cheering me as I beat. Yeah, exactly, Cloudless, exactly. Cheering me as I beat a boss. It also is, Cloudless, speaking of which, it's great to have chat really excited when I beat a boss on stream. That is really, really great. I got to see that a lot when I was playing Elden Ring. That was really fun. So that was the tutorial boss. Yeah, right, Zeronius? That's the tutorial boss. The first mission's really simple, but once you get to the boss, you're like, oh, this takes a little getting used to. You can see on the bottom again, stagger bar right there, health bar right there, your armor points. I kept thinking, I was like, why is that action points and it's armor points? Lawrence was like, no, that's armor points. I was like, oh. That's how much, that's your health. And then your repair, you have repair kits just like Estus flasks. And then the scan is just for like looking for different stuff on a mission. So, okay, so this is the shop. This is the parts shop. Now, if you have any questions, just ask. But it's pretty self-explanatory. The one thing that I will say is a lot of those, it's pretty overwhelming to see all those numbers on the bottom. There's a weight limit. So you have to make sure that your legs are big enough to support your weight and all your weapons. Once I'd figured out, it took me a couple hours to figure out the numbers and like how they correspond to what firepower that I have. Yeah, like current EN load and current load and stuff like that on the bottom right. You can see it down here. Once I figured it out, I was like, oh, I see. And the credits, they came pretty easily. No, you cannot go out overweight. You can't like go out and then they're like, oh, you're broken. So here's me buying a gun. Like you can't do that. The game will tell you. It'll say like, oh yeah, and here's the. Did I do this too? Good for me. So this is assembly. Like you can change the parts that you bought. You can also sell your old parts for credits to use on other better parts. And this is where I got it. Like this is where I started to understand. This makes way more sense to me than a Dark Souls build or a Sekiro build or a Bloodborne build, like by a lot. This makes more sense because I'm like, oh, more missiles. Or, you know, a better gun or something. One of the first things that I did when I started using this, it's not in the footage, but one of the first things that I did, crafting, I didn't get there. There might be, but I didn't really see much of it. Was I put tank treads on the bottom of my mech. So I made myself a tank, and the reason I did that was because I wanted to see if I could give myself more armor points. Is there a way I could just tank my way through a bunch of other things? And it worked for a little bit. And I tanked my way through like a few level up levels, which was cool. But once you get to the boss, like everything goes out the window. When you get to the boss, it's going to be pretty rare that you have the right build for a boss. So you're probably going to have to either start the whole mission over. Do you move slower if you put on more load? Absolutely you do, yeah. It works just like real life. Yeah, one of the things you're going to realize is when you get to a boss, you're going to be like, oh, this build doesn't work. And the problem is that you have to restart the entire mission. If you feel like you have the right build, you can restart from a checkpoint. Yeah, just like real life giant mechs, guys. Come on. If you had a heavier real life giant mech, that real life giant mech would move slower. But yeah, so anyway, so you have to restart all the way over if you want to redo your build for a boss. And that's actually what I was showing you. I played through the boss a couple of times and I was like, this is not the right build. So I had to give myself better weapons. And then go in on the boss. Now the problem is that I have to then play the entire mission over again. To get back to that boss with the specific build. You can't change your build in the middle of a mission. You cannot change your build in the middle of a mission. And that's something that I thought you could do, but you cannot do that. That's you can restart from checkpoints, which is cool. But if you need to change your build, you got to go all the way back.
Objective is to take the Liberation Front Fortress. The wall.
And this is the beginning of
The credits. 621.
this mission. You'll kind of see is pretty standard.
Main system activating.
This is a pretty
combat
standard
mode.
mission here. Yeah, Cloudless, you can't. It's just like
We'll start by clearing the
it
way
wastes
for
like, you know,
Artemis.
10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is.
Take out the Gatling
So,
cannons protecting the city.
this is a pretty standard mission.
There's
If you do, like, I had to play through this mission a couple times because those cannons are like absolutely destroying you.
an eye out for cover.
If they hit you, they're major damage. So you have to go and destroy those cannons. The flying's cool. Everything feels a little wonky, but you can make your build feel less wonky, right?
8%.
Because you can make your build be lighter, or you can make your build be stronger. So if you feel too slow, you can change it. And I'd rather have more firepower and be slower. That's the way I play. But like, I think Lawrence was playing, and he was playing a faster build because he was able to, you know, dodge and move and stuff. But his firepower then would be less, so then he'd have to pick at them longer. How long were the missions you played? They change, but Jeff, I'd say like 10 minutes. They're relatively short, 5 to 10 minutes probably. Oh, Queefer, really? That's cool. Yeah, I never got to the armory stations. that lets you change loadout mid-mission. That's rad. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That makes me even more excited about this game. That's my melee I just used on him. Melee is super powerful. I got that new, see that plasma cannon, the purple? Those plasma cannons are really good. As many one-shot guns as I could fit. Yeah, full camp. That's the way I was playing. That's the way I was playing there. You can see like your stamina on the bottom. The stamina's you can boost forever on the ground, but once you're flying, it goes down a little bit. So I have to get rid of those cannons because those cannons are super, super dangerous and deadly while you're out in the field. Did I miss some? Oh yeah, I missed some. I missed the melee. Melee's just really powerful. Like, melee was something I used pretty much the entire time. Yeah, the backdrop views are really good. The game looked really good too. There was a whole nother mission I wasn't able to show because again I was only able to show 20 minutes of this. There's a whole nother mission where you bring down this giant like tank. It's this light, you know, it's like a tank the size of whatever 20 skyscrapers. And it's really fun. It was a really fun mission. And I wanted to show that, but I had to cut it. Can you change the melee? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But the standard melee, it comes with... Oh, this is a mini-boss. This is a mini-boss. I was immediately staggered by the mini-boss and very angry. Right away, very upset. And I'd beaten this mini-boss already once, so... But see how I'm constantly firing missiles? That's it. You can see the number. The lock-on is automatic, so you don't have to do anything about that. Get fucked. Get fucked, mini-boss. You see the numbers 5 and 2? You see the little 5 and 2 on the mechs that are my lock-ons? Those are my missiles. So one cannon has 5 missiles left. Another has 2. And then, again, just always fire. Never stop firing. Never stop firing everything. How was the performance? Performance was great. It played really, really well. I still have almost constant issues with FromSoft games where, like, you'll press a dodge or they'll predict they'll input read or whatever, and, like, that makes me upset. But the game itself, I thought played really well. Oh yeah, J-Bat, you just missed it. We'll watch it again. We'll watch it again. Yeah, never don't stop not firing. Exactly. Exactly. And like, I made my little mech orange, and you can change their colors and change their paint job and all that other stuff. Junkins, I also made a mech that had tank treads too. Do you think they did a good job bringing back the franchise? I don't know. I have nothing at stake for this franchise. But I gotta say, they got me interested in a franchise I didn't care about before. So there's that. That plasma cannon, the straight plasma cannon that I've just been firing, the one purple shot is so good. That thing right there. I just fired it. Oh, I love it. I love it. But it also, you run the risk of it missing, like I just missed. You're always moving too. That's another thing, you have to like constantly be moving. That noise you hear, the beeping, that means that an enemy fired a missile, a lock-on missile on you. It's hard. The game is hard. Yeah, the game is absolutely hard. 100%. It is as hard as a Dark Souls. I did enjoy this more than other FromSoft games, other than Elden Ring. I think I enjoyed Elden Ring more than this, but this is an open world and Elden Ring is. So. Hey, Magnus. Remaining. You think you'd still play it if you weren't streaming it? I don't know. I have no idea. I'll only know that when I'm playing it at home while streaming. Then I'll know if I'm addicted to it or not. Because like there were a couple times that I was like, oh, if I change this, it'll work. like if I change my build now, oh, here's the boss. This is the first major boss.
I wouldn't recommend taking it head
And again, this is a winning run that you're watching. This is the first major boss. The first major boss. You also have an ally. They give you an ally. What's up, Animine? And the ally will help you get through about half of it. The dodge is really important here. There's a, you know, obviously dedicated button for dodge, so you're constantly dodging. So there's a lot. But this boss is like, so you can hear the beeping. That's where I really got caught up, was the beeping. Also there's some screen tearing. Screen tearing I think is on my capture side. I never saw screen tearing while playing the game, just so you know. The capture that we had to bring a laptop and like capture from their PCs in a 90-degree room and stuff. So it wasn't the most perfect capture setup. So that's why I'm not blaming the game at all. I'm not blaming the game at all. Is there an in-cockpit view? No, not at all. Not that I saw. Not that I saw. So now the ally leaves. The ally helps you get him down to half health. And then the ally leaves. And you're like, what? No! Do the weapons have different firing modes? Not really. You have to more equip different weapons.
Light shoulder ammunition at 50%.
There are probably some weapons that have different firing modes, but like for the purpose of this gameplay, for the first 5 hours I played this game, not really. You just find different weapons. Oh, I dodged right into it because I'm an idiot. And like that plasma cannon's not taking up his stagger, but it looks like my missiles are taking up his stagger. Yeah. Do you have limited ammo? You do, but you kind of never run out. You can see on the bottom right. See on the bottom right over here, there are numbers, but you kind of don't really run out of those. You shouldn't. If you do, then there's probably a problem. Do you lose anything when you die? No, not really. You can restart from checkpoint. Oh, Bruce. Come on, Bruce. I've now used all my repairs. I'm at half health. Nice dodge. Great dodge, Bruce. Using more ammo reduces mission payout. Yeah, I didn't notice. The mission payouts were so good already, it kind of didn't matter. That was one thing that I really enjoyed about this, is that like those missions are so quick. The missions without bosses are so quick that, and you would make like 100,000 credits or whatever for 5 minutes work, and it was totally worth it. Beef whistles. Yeah, beef whistles. It was. I played this a couple of weeks ago. Got to be efficient for an S rating. Yeah, I don't give a shit about rating. Doesn't matter to me at all. The thing I cared about the most was making sure my build could take on anything.
Confirmed. Juggernaut destroyed.
That's what I.
Operation Wall Climber.
That boss took me 45 minutes, I think it was.
It seems he knew
that boss took me about 45 minutes to get through.
It won't matter. I've taken that contingency into account.
Yeah, how many tries? Probably, let's see. I played on controller. That's another reason I did not feel as good as I could have. Was I played on controller. So there's your payout, right? 350,000 credits, which is really good. Okay. Now this is very important before I move forward. Because again, they only allowed me 20 minutes of footage. This is the next boss. That was like a couple hours down the line. And I did not beat this boss. This boss is, yeah, like I said, Xerox, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Look, if you guys, I promise you guys are going to be trying to get S ratings and all that other bullshit after you've played the game for 300 hours. But for now, you're just trying to get through it. Yeah, you guys aren't experts yet. It turns out none of you have played the game. So, unless there's one of whatever 100 people that went to this event. So you'll be experts at it in whatever 3 months time, let's say. Scoot. So this boss is rough, and I was coming up on, I knew I was going to have to leave the event, and I was like, please let me beat this thing before I leave the event, and I wasn't able to. I know Pseudo Sweet, they can't though. They can't because they've never played. There's no such thing as backseating when they've never played the game. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. So I had to leave, and I was like, please let me beat this before I have to leave. And I wasn't able to, and I was very upset. And I was frustrated, and I was like, fucking shit. And I think the developers heard me cursing at the game. Now, I'm sure I'm not the first person ever to curse at this video game or any other video games, but I hope that they weren't mad. I hope they weren't mad at me. I hope they weren't like, oh no, this guy hates it. I don't hate the game. I hate this fucking stupid boss. I hate this boss, and you'll see why. Because he fires 1 million projectiles. I mean, like, it's insane. It's insane what this boss does. Beefus, I hope so. He's constantly staggering you. I've done no damage to him. There we go. There we go. There's a little damage. But it's this attack. Where's the attack? He hasn't done it yet, which is, I'm lucky. RNGesus. I got RNGesus there. That one missile, if that one missile hits you, you get staggered. One. That's so unfair. Oh, absolutely getting ruined. Staggered. There it is. The one missile staggered me again. So yeah, he hasn't done his crazy attack yet, which is great. This was a good run. I think I picked this run because it was a good run. Let's see here. That's the thing. That's the one that I can't stand. There it is. Staggered again. Get in, baby. Get in there and unload on him.
Breathe in, get clear.
Yeah, the health bar is in white above, and then his stagger bar and shield bar is above him. So the shield bar here at the very top, when it's blue, that means he has a shield. And my stagger bar is here, the yellow bar down here on the bottom. When that fills up, when the yellow bar fills up, that means I'm staggered. And I stop moving for a second. And then when his, I think, goes all the way down, and that means he's staggered. Absolutely, yeah. That's rage is gonna happen. So yeah, you can see I'm whittling away at his shield. Oh yeah, I forgot he starts this attack. I forgot about this. The worst. Yeah, his stagger bar is going down. So as it goes down, I don't know why this changed, by the way, but it does. That's his melee. That's his melee. I have 0 repairs left. Nice dodges, Bruce. Great job on surviving for a second. The one thing you learn is that those plasma weapons... Oh, I staggered him again. Way to go, Bruce. He got me. So you don't get a shield? I mean, this specific build does not have a shield, no. But maybe eventually you will be able to get a shield. Do your rockets track forever? They do track forever, but they'll miss sometimes. I think that was probably the closest I got to beating this boss. And again, a lot of that has to do with the RNG of the fact that he didn't do... let's see here. He didn't do whatever attack that was at the beginning. This attack. That one. That's the fact that he didn't do that one very often was the reason I did so well. Is there a time when you can release the rest of the footage? As far as I know, no. There is not. All right. We'll start over and we'll watch it again. In the case that you guys are just jumping in. So, the game is fun. The game is fun, but it is hard. Each mission is very much like you can play through a mission with no boss and it's really fun. And you're just going to go and you're going to grind those missions over and over for credits.
Verified.
You're going to go in, do those missions 10 times, get a bunch of credits, and then use those credits to buy better weapons to then take on a boss. You do not have unlimited ammo, no, but you kind of very rarely run out, honestly. Are there difficulty modes? Not that I saw. Not that I saw. Kaiju didn't get to play any of the PvP or multiplayer at all. It was only single player, so no idea there. This is the beginning of the video game, just so you're all aware. And like I said, that I've said this before, but I'll say it again. That I really did enjoy the missions.
Activate the AC.
The missions are really cool. They had a lot of like fun lore surrounding them. But when you run up against a boss, it is Dark Souls. It is absolutely Dark Souls. And then you're going to be stuck on that boss for a while. And you can change your build. You can change your build. But changing your build is going to require you to start the mission all the way over again. So then you're going to kind of waste probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes starting over again. And there is a chance that that build may not work. So then when you get to the boss and you realize the build doesn't work, you got to do it again. That's right, Storm. This is my gameplay, Storm. What would you say is the game's strongest feature, or the one you enjoyed the most? Elder Triton, the thing I enjoyed the most about this game was the fact that you can, like, look at the weapons in the shop and be like, oh, this is how much the weapon is. Generally speaking, if it's more expensive, it's stronger. And then I was like, I'm just going to spend as much money as possible. I don't care how heavy I am. I want a lot of life, and I want a lot of AP on the bottom left of your screen, which are armor points, and I want a lot of firepower. And that was pretty easy to do. Pretty easy to figure that out. Versus Dark Souls or like Bloodborne, which could be a little more convoluted. This was not. I told the story before, but what I did was I put tank treads on my mech. I was like, I'm gonna opt for the thing that makes me the heaviest, but also gives me the most health. And I liked that. It made me, it worked. AP is your health, yeah. Pseudo Sweet painted forward from me. The carbine. Thanks, Pseudo Sweet. This is the tutorial boss that I'm fighting now. Audio cues are really important. When you're like you hear that beeping sound, that means they fired a lock-on at you. So you should probably dodge. I know it looks like there's a lot of bars everywhere, but you start to understand after a couple hours of playing what each bar means. Like, they're your cooldowns. Yeah, you heal yourself mid-fight. Magnus, I can see that. Makes sense. You heal yourself mid-fight with the repairs on the bottom left, just like Estus flasks. Nice. Just shoot him one more time. There we go. Like I said, one thing that I said before, but I'll say it again. You are constantly firing your weapons. You are never
Heavy combat
Never not
helicopter is
firing.
down.
Always firing.
That's all for our work here today, 621.
Always shooting your missiles. Always shooting your cannon. So here's the shop. So like I was saying before, like usually the gun that's the most expensive is the strongest, generally speaking. So that's usually what you want. I was like, I want the biggest, strongest things. I believe you can change up your melee a little bit. I wish I could go back in the menus and look, but I can't. Yeah, ABF exactly. I think there are a couple of melee weapons you can pick from. I'm sure they change it as time goes on. But the missile launchers was where the missile launchers are what stagger. And that's why I was like, I need better missile launchers. There's like different generators that give you more stamina, like the better jetpack, a faster jetpack, a better dodge. Which again, I know it looks like a lot of numbers on the bottom of the screen, but you start to understand it after a couple hours of playing. But like boost speed, here, let me see if I can point this stuff out. Boost speed down here, like goes from 317 to 315. That's your boost is like when you're skating along the ground. Current EN load and current load, I believe. I think that's an energy load, and then load itself is just how big you are. If you go over the little triangles, that means you can't move anymore. Don't energy weapons recharge? I believe so, but if they're energy missiles, like if they're like plasma missiles, they don't recharge. You have a certain number of them. Attack power is pretty self-explanatory here. Impact is kind of an interesting thing. I believe I want to say this increases your stagger. The higher your impact. Total rounds, that makes sense, right? Yeah, your weight here is how big your entire mech is. Actually, oh yeah, it looks like it's like lowering your weight a little bit. I think that's what it is. I'd have to remember, like I said, if I could go back into the menu and check, I would be able to check. But because these are the part specs, and these are your armored core specs over here. So, do you know what attitude stability is? Attitude stability sounds like something for flying, but I don't know offhand. Defensive performance, I would gather that means how much you can take in terms of stagger. But each one of these has different. Let's see if I can find. Like raises your attack power. See, like this plasma rifle. That's the rifle you saw me using. The purple shot. It raises the attack power from 112, which was my garbage cannon from the beginning, to 1336, which is huge. That's a lot of attack power. But my total rounds go down from 420 to 90. Oh, thanks, Loaded Clown. Loaded Clown lifted to J Style. J Style. Do something nice for someone else. Thanks, Clown. Attitude stability sounds like mental health. Yeah, my mental health was in the toilet when I was playing this. The weight, I think the weight here is telling you it goes down when you equip this part. So you lose like 800 pounds or whatever their weight metric is. And again, as long as you don't go over the triangles over here, you're good. But I don't know everything about those stats. I was just kind of what I gathered as I was playing. I just wanted to spend a lot of money on big weapons. And be like, let's go in with a lot of weapons and a lot of missiles and see how that does. Yeah, EN shortfall. I don't know what EN stands for. I wish I did. Enslaved. Thanks for the Prime Enslaved. Very much. But if you Googled EN in Armored Core, you could tell me. Thanks, Enslaved. Yeah, so that's a little bit of the shop. Again, you can make your You can sell other parts to make more credits. Which I thought was also cool. So whatever parts you buy, you can then sell to use for more credits. What's the equivalent to an Unga Bunga build like an Elden Ring? Probably a tank build. I can't show it, but I did it when I played this game. I put tank treads on the bottom of my mech, and I was just literally a rolling tank that could fly. Maybe it's... Well, EN is... Yeah, like, oh, like energy load? Yeah, maybe that's what it is. And then, like, my tank build was... I just had a lot of health. So I could take a bunch of hits. And also, I could carry a bunch of really big weapons. But I have no maneuverability at all. Yes, the tank builds can still fly. It's just, like... super unwieldy. But they can still fly. That was one thing I wanted to check. I was like, oh, can they fly even with tank treads? And yes, they can. That's the way I would like to play this game. My overall take on this game is it's fun. I like this portion of the game a lot more than building a character in Dark Souls. So it vibed with me a little more. But I'm still going to get really frustrated at those bosses. Real frustrated. I mean, like, we're talking real frustrated. So here's a pretty standard mission. That's the plasma cannon I just bought. That purple can. So that's the reason I redid my armored core here. I like redid my build was because I knew the boss was coming up at the end of this, and I needed to make sure I had a better build. I needed to make sure I had more firepower. Yeah, I'll be streaming it for sure. Yeah. Xander, I have no idea. The computer speaker is your handler. So you never say anything. Your protagonist, I believe, is a silent protagonist. Your handler is the one talking to you, telling you what to do. Enslaved, you don't need to spam that. It's okay. You don't need to spam. And you can see like the snipers. You know, the red laser means there's a sniper. And the sniper's like, I think one shot staggers you. Sometimes one shot kills you, I want to say. Depends on how much health you have. But I'm trying to get into a blind spot up here because these cannons can't turn to the side. There we go. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, like, on these missions, there's a lot of different cannons that they're just mounted cannons and they're just firing. They're firing at you. And if you get hit, you're dead. Do I think I'll like Armored Core more than Elden Ring? No. I don't think I will like Armored Core more than Elden Ring. Because Armored Core is not open world. So you're still locked in. Like, you still have to play the same, whatever, 10 missions or what, you know. If you want to, you're going to have to grind like you do in most FromSoft games. So you're going to have to grind the same missions. So the map, yeah, I guess the map is, yeah, I don't know that it's huge. It feels huge. I think they do a good job of making you feel like it's big, but it doesn't. It's not. Like you cover a lot of ground with your jets and your boosts. But I'm glad that you feel like it is. No, I didn't finish Sekiro at all. There are actually way bigger maps, Elazar. Some of the missions I played, I had like way bigger maps, which are really cool. I actually really did enjoy the maps. It's funny because I enjoyed the game a lot. Like, I enjoyed doing this part of the game a lot. But once you get to those bosses to progress, then you gotta bang your head against the wall for a while. And even with changing builds or whatever, you still have to do the entire mission over again. You gotta beat this mini-boss and kill all those cannons and do the whole deal again if you change your build. So it's 11 missions per chapter. It's something like that, yeah. Yeah. So this part I really like. I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to fly around and like, you know, shoot little mechs and cannons and stuff. And is it only third person as far as I can see? I don't know if there's a first person. There might be at some point. Some of those things are armored, so that's why the cannon doesn't work on them. Yeah, as far as I can see, it's third person only, but you know, who knows? Oh, that stupid cannon! You can also make your lock-on better, so you have a higher range. So, like, I wouldn't have to get so close to that cannon in order for my weapons to lock on. There was one really frustrating mission that had, like, cloaked mechs, invisible mechs, and you could only go to where they were once they fired at you.
Do you read me? This is V4 Rusty.
I mean, Maestro Mike, it wasn't. They may have informed me. I may just have not read about it. Again, Maestro, I played 5 hours of this and got nowhere near those changing your mechs mid-mission. So, how convoluted are the controls? They're not convoluted. You're constantly pressing the shoulder buttons and A and B and triggers and stuff because you are always firing your weapons. So, yeah, no, you couldn't. Like I said, in the first 5 hours I played this game, there was probably no way I was going to be changing my build because it didn't exist. I'm sure eventually you can do that, but not in the first 5 hours. Is it viable to do a melee only build? A great question. I don't know. I really liked melee, but I mean, you probably could make a really like a light build with a bunch of melee on it, but you'd be like a really weird. You wouldn't even be a glass cannon, right? You'd be a glass ninja. Yeah, Maestro Mike, I didn't get there at all. So I blasted through this game as fast as I could. Maybe you can buy them, Maestro Mike. You might be able to do that. That is a resupply for your repairs. What you just showed there, but it didn't have a rebuild your mech.
That's the juggernaut.
So
heavy mobile kit. I wouldn't recommend taking it.
I would assume you unlock those changing your mechs mid-mission. I would love to change my mech mid-mission. To me, that makes the game even better. And if you get it early on, awesome. But I didn't. So,
Watch out. It's coming.
this is the boss that they give you an ally. There are a couple missions they give you allies with, and that was really fun to have another mech go out there with you. So I staggered him. I get in there and use my melee because that does the most damage. And then you kind of like pick at him with the rest of your weapons. You can see his health going down, but it's like not very much. Yeah, just not very much at all. So some of those missiles, I've never actually done, I didn't look at this when I was doing this. Some of the missiles stagger, and then the plasma cannons, sometimes they do damage to it. So it's always, it's hard to tell, since you're firing, yeah, the ally definitely does meaningful damage, yeah. It's really hard to tell which weapons do what, because everything is happening. No, Enslaved, it is. Go to my YouTube channel, Enslaved. It's really hard to tell which weapons do what. Which weapons stagger, which weapons break shield, which weapons do damage. And it's more of a feeling when you're fighting the boss. But like, I think what weapons are staggering there? Sometimes they miss. Sometimes they miss. So and again, since you're firing so much and worrying about stagger and all that other stuff, it's like you're not looking at the health bar as you're doing it. And that was that's one of my other, maybe like minor complaints about this is that you kind of don't know what build should do what until you've tried it a couple of times. You start to get a feel for it. You see how far you can bring him down. Oh, charge right into it. But once you figured it out, then you're like, okay, all right, I got it. Like I think this build will do it. Yeah, so. And then, like I said, I'm only showing the winning run for this boss. Because it took me 30 to 45 minutes to beat this boss, I want to say. Oh, Goose's hype train's all set. Hype train's ready to go. If we get to the end of a level 5 hype train, are there side quests? Yes, there are. There are many side quests, actually. There are lots of side quests. If you want to progress the story of the game, then you have to beat the bosses. But there are lots of missions you can play that are fun and not hard. You just kind of run around and do stuff. Pseudo Swede, Elder Triton, thank you for the bits, both of y'alls.
It won't matter. I've taken that contingency into account.
The loop of how you overcome it is different than Souls games. Yeah. Yes, the gameplay loop is more like, okay, my build didn't work, go back, change up your weapons, see if you can stagger it faster, see if you can do more damage. So here's a boss. This is the boss at the end, or at the end of my playthrough for the first 5 hours, that I was not able to beat because I didn't have enough time. I had to leave. I know I could have beaten him, but I wasn't able to. So this is a failure run. No, it's not open world at all. It is all mission based. Brigade, I know you do. 3 more people to start the hype train. Fucking hate that stagger. Getting staggered is the worst feeling in the world because you have to always be moving and shooting, and as soon as you get staggered, you're just like, ugh! It interrupts you, and it's the worst. 3 more people to start the hype train. I'm going to give away any video game at all if we get to the end of a level 5 hype train. Yeah, it's not like Risk of Rain. It is absolutely not like any of that stuff. Man, I wish. I wish. It's Dark Souls with mechs. Oh no, Shrek, you don't need to apologize. I was just letting you know. It's just a lot of stuff going on. It's funny because you're like, oh man, there's so many projectiles, and like, I feel like you could survive anything, and it's like, no, you need to be dodging a lot. It's like that shit. Oh my gosh, the worst. No, yeah, Shrek, you don't need to apologize. Just more of a very important to note that there's a lot of stuff going on. If you get hit by any of it, you're fucked. Yeah, it's you feel like it's Returnal, but I feel like maybe Returnal. I feel like even Returnal, you don't die as fast, which makes sense, right? That's what this game is. I did try the tank legs, yeah, Boxer. So yeah, it's this was just a good run, and I got some good RNG. He didn't do his major attack over and over. Do you get flares or anything defensive? You might. I never saw them. I never saw the flares. Generally, your armor points were your defensive things. Here, let's go back to the shop. Yeah, generally but there could be flares. There were also things that you could unlock that would give you, what was it, like better dodges. They would give you, I think, stronger, like, you know, like a damage boost all the way around, things like that. That was sort of roguelite in that capacity, Shrek. How does the lock-on feel? Pretty, yeah, it feels good. Thank you, Dumpster Soap, for the Prime. Very much. 2 more people to start the hype train. Yeah, I'm sure there's an energy shield or something. But none of that stuff kind of matters. Like, that's the... Like, it's going to help you a little bit, but the thing that matters the most in this game is your firepower. Like, doing a lot of damage and surviving a long time. So, like, you can put up an energy shield or whatever, they're going to blast right through it. That's what's... At least early on. It's more about stacking the things that you think will work for you. So if you're like, I can get an energy shield and a lot of armor points, then do that, you know? Or if you're like, I can do, you know, a bunch of stagger missiles, then do a bunch of stagger missiles. Or if you're like, all I want is a really strong left click, a really strong standard cannon, do it. So... No, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's from Soft Hard. It's like it's a hard video game. I'm sure when people play it, they will go, "This was easy, and I am the best." But also, then they will not post their gameplay, and I'll be like, "Why didn't you post your gameplay? Show me how easy it is." That's what I can't wait for that. Oh yeah, Shrek, yeah. Shrek, I'm kind of the same way. I'll stream this if people are into it. JP, I know, right? I will stream this if you guys are into it. But
show them you're worth the credits. 621.
It's from Soft Hard. It is.
Activating combat mode.
Commence mission. We'll start by clearing the way for Arquebus. Take out the Gatling cannons protecting the city.
From Hard.
Tetrapod MT further in.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I already beat this game, even though it's not out for another month. I already beat this game.
Keep an eye out for
I beat the boss in 1 try. Oh, Lawrence is gonna play the shit out of it. Yeah, Lawrence and I played it together at the event where they let us play the game early. Like we were next to each other. Lawrence and I were both doing it. And Lawrence had like a sick ass anime mech, like an anime dodge mech out there, and I had my, you know, big tank with 7 missiles, and that's right, Familiar, exactly. There's a bunch of lore, Twilight Gamer. There's a bunch of lore. The lore's in between. In my opinion, there weren't enough cinematics. I kind of wish we had gotten more lore, because I thought the future lore was cool. But I would like to see more. I would like to see more cinematics. It's mainly just radio calls, where you're learning about the different corporations and different mercenaries and stuff. Did anyone mention anything about co-op? I didn't see anything about co-op, but there might be. You know, never say never. But that certainly wasn't the focus for them. Yeah, it's all pretty... I guess people are saying, like, this looks like standard Armored Core, but I don't know. I haven't played any Armored Cores, so I don't know. These parts aren't very hard. This is more PvE, but I think they're going to have PvP. But it's, I think, probably generally, again, their focus is PvE. Yeah, this is a PvE game. So it's definitely not PvP at all. They'll probably have PvP, but they're gonna want people to play through the campaign first, so. That's usually the way that's gonna go. Because it's think of it as Dark Souls with mechs, because that's what it is. It's Sekiro with mechs. Yeah, me either, Lord Balls. Me either. But it really remarkably feels like like Dark Souls. Mecharo, exactly. It felt very much like that. And comes out in a month, I want to say. And it's super enjoyable. I hope I get to stream a lot of it, because I'm curious to see where mechs go and how overpowered you can make them. That's kind of my number one thing. That's what it was like for Elden Ring too. I was like, oh man, is magic overpowered? And then you change your build in Elden Ring, and it's like so overpowered. So like, I'm looking forward to getting to that point with this game, to see what you can throw at these mechs to make them like literally unstoppable. Yeah, they're piloted by people. That's where the fun lies for me in these games. Fun lies for me in whether or not I can become overpowered and not have to worry about anything. So
the friendly MT squad will take care of the city. Access the
that beeping sound. I dream about that beeping sound. When I go to sleep, all I hear is that beep beep, because that means a missile's headed toward me. Oh, Maestro, I would love that. The fun is living your power fantasy, exactly. Fool's Gold, they might be, yeah. I wasn't, this was not a lore-focused run. This was me trying to get through the game as fast as possible, to get as much capture as possible.
You're fast. Guess you're sharper than they'd say.
I hope that there's co-op at some point, sort of like Elden Ring. That'd be cool. Alright, Kooses. Last chance on the hype train. If you want me to give away video games, now's the time. And I mean, yeah, it was fun. I don't know how many people are casual FromSoft fans like me. Like I always like to give these games a shot, but I'm not a diehard, so like I don't know if that's gonna translate. I don't know if people are gonna, you know, jump into this because of Elden Ring or whatever. Anime gifted to Lurkle Jerk. Anime 17 subs away from VIP. I know, right, Genesius? Thanks, Anime. 4 more people to start the hype train.
One repair kit remaining.
Co-op was leaked, 6 players. That's awesome. I wonder if you can play the entire game co-op. Because man, oh man, that sounds amazing. I would much rather do that. I would much rather do that than take this shit on by myself. Because woo-wee! It's hard. I was very proud of myself, though. I was pretty much on pace with people that were playing at the event. I beat these bosses in around the same time. So
Watch out, it's coming.
and this is like the first major boss. You get an ally for the first half of it. The ally sort of draws aggro while you do damage.
That's the stuff.
But I wish that they had let me show more of the gameplay too, because I recorded about 5 hours worth, and I'm kind of bummed that I can't talk through all 5 hours because there's a lot more to it. I think that they didn't want to spoil story stuff, but. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a charge up. You can charge up your weapons too. So like that plasma cannon, that was a charge that I just fired at him. Charging up again, not necessarily the greatest way to do it. because you want to always be firing, and charge up means you have to hold it for a second.
Just got an update from Snail at command.
Exactly,
Got
Corkball.
enemy reinforcements
You
incoming.
kind of have to, like, you got to hold it for a second, and that's almost never the right move. Is you just always have to be firing, because the stagger bar, the boss's stagger bar will eventually go down if you're not hitting it. And you can kind of see the yellow bar, the stagger bar above the boss's bar will go down if you give them a few seconds to recover. I know, yeah, Genesius, it's true. Oh, that's a big... Come on, get that stagger. Oh, it's going down. The stagger bar is going down, which is bad. Thankfully, I think they kind of, once you play... Wow, now that I'm watching it, I'm like... They do give you... They give you a lot of clues that stuff's inbound. But, like, you're still going to get hit because you're having to press 1,000 other buttons and think about 1,000 other things.
AP at 50%.
But, I don't know. This year is so stacked for video games that I'm really curious to see how many people, like, go after this, want to buy it. I don't know how many copies they're going to sell. Because this feels like a game that a lot of people are going to wait on. Am I wrong? Is everyone in chat going to buy this video game? Is everybody in chat going to be like, oh man, first day, Armored Core? Already pre-ordered. I guess, well, I'm kind of preaching to the choir at this point, but... Because I think a bunch, like, the FromSoft diehard fans are going to... They're going to go after this right away. But, like, people that bought Elden Ring, are they going to go for this, I wonder?
That pilot, Rusty.
I don't know. This comes out a week before Starfield Early Access.
It won't matter. I've taken that contingency into account.
Yeah, this comes out a week before Starfield Early Access. Okay. I'm going to stop right there.